Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today I want to take a quick look at the new update of Backbone by Steinberg, as we call it in Germany. And Backbone is a drum resynthesizer. We can put in some drum samples here, resynthesize them with sine partials, and then can modify the sample, and then you get different drum sounds out of it. But they added now a drum GAN, some kind of AI, or let's say a neural network of, so where you can generate kick drums and snare sounds and cymbal sounds and so on. So I installed this here without content, and there's also no samples in there, and you can just dial in here some numbers. For instance, here we can go to this position here, and now it generated already a kick drum for me. And when you don't like the kick drum, you just move this here around and you get a different kick drum. If you don't like actually what you can choose here from this slider, because for me it looks like you have basically a bunch of already pre-rendered or pre-generated kick drums in here, and you can select them. So when you move to the same position here, you get the same sound. That's what I want to tell. So this is the first kick drum here. This is the last kick drum. So every time you go back to the first position here, you get the same kick drum. If you actually don't like what you hear, or if you like what you hear, then you can go to the variation slider here, and you can select a different variation of this sample. So this is the first variation of this position here. Then you can dial in. Different variations of this. If you go back to the same position, you get the same sound as before. To generate something new, you have to click here on new, on this new button. So I think what happens is in the back end, you generate a lot of new kick drum sounds that you can select with the slider here. So now in this position, you get this sound. As hit this sound, and in the first position, you get this sound. Last position is this sound. And then the variations for that. If you want to have different variations of this sound, then you just click this generate new variation button here. And then you get new, generated samples for this position. Okay, if you don't want to generate kick drums, you just open up here the snare button or the snare slider, and you get different snares. And if you want to have a mixture of both, so you can dial in maybe a bit of snare and a much more kick drum, so you get a mixture of both sounds. Or as I see it, you can dial in a bit more of high-end content to the kick drum. You can even dial in your cymbal. If you have generated a sound here with the drum GAN, drum generator, then of course you can dive in much more here with the resynthesis engine that you had before already. And you could do this only to samples, but now you can just generate samples inside this plugin, and then you can decompose it here or resynthesize the sound with these options even more. So this is the original sample. It's the resynthesized sample. Then you can remove here the noise part, or just, keep only the noisy part of the sample. So it's a resynthesizer where you have your sample resynthesized by sine partials. I think this is how it works, at least in the back end. And of course, you can also use your then decompose, where you can separate the drum sound into the tonal part and the noise part into different layers, and then tweak these also differently if you want to. But for me, the highlight is really the drum GAN drum generator here, which is, I think, the first time I saw this in a VST plugin, where you can use AI networks to generate sounds. And there's also that you can use your samples. Let me see if I find here some kind of nice kick drum. Oh, let's search for kicking. So let's take this one. So you can drag some samples in here, and then you. Oh, let me actually delete it there here. Do it this way. We have this sound now here. Just a sample. And then you can click on Analyze. And then this drum synthesizer or resynthesizer will analyze the sample and will come up with some new generated sound by the AI using your sample. So this is the AI regenerated example. Maybe go back. So it doesn't sound the same, but you can hear clearly it's the same frequency ranges, and it kind of sounds similar. And then you go into the variation slider here, and you can get different variations from this generated thing. It's actually interesting. It's not really, you know, you don't get the same sound of the sample you just dragged in. It's a bit different. You can hear it goes in the right direction, but it's not perfect, right? So, but I think it's very interesting to have this to generate some new sounds, and I'm really a friend of stuff like this, and I think we need tools like this more in the musical environment, where you can throw in some chord progressions or some samples or some sounds, and you can generate thousands of different variations of this sound, put it into a sampler, and then you have a multi-sample instrument that you can play. So there are a lot of opportunities there you can use with neural networks, I think. There's something else I haven't explained. Yeah, this update came out today, and I just downloaded this, played around a bit with this, but I think I can find some nice, interesting, inspirational ideas how you can use this in your daily life and can come up with something different than just kick, snare, and hi-hats here. Oh, we actually haven't generated here some hi-hats. Show you this. So for the hi-hats, it sounds like the sounds at the end here of the slider are much more higher and shorter, and first one, or the first points here, the first values all sound even more like a snare drum sometimes. Maybe mix in a slightly snare, simple here. So you can really also create some percussion sounds with this. It's completely interesting for me. There's also this randomize button where you can press this, and it just randomizes these sliders. If you're happy with the sound, you can just drag the sound out into Bitwig here, into a sampler, or on the track itself here in the clip, or on the audio channel, audio track, if you want to. So there are all kinds of possibilities here there for yeah, getting some samples out of this, making sample packages and sell them for $20, something like this. Yeah, if you next time buy some kind of sample pack on some random website, be aware it's maybe created with Backbone. So yeah, you can track these samples out. You can also export, I think, the sample here with this button. And there's also that you can have all these generated drum sounds automatically save into a folder here. It's this folder for me. can also make this check mark here so it's saved then into the project folder of your current DAW project. And let me see here how this looks like. Yeah, this is the folder here. This is how it looks like. It's full of these samples generated by the samples I just generated here by tweaking these settings. So it's an interesting thing here, this Backbone. And I also saw, for me, when I bought this today, that it's currently on sale. Normally this costs 150 bucks or so, and it's currently on sale for 89 or something like this. So it's not a drum sampler, it's more like drum resynthesis, and you don't have multiple slots here for multiple different sounds. It's more like that you have one plug-in for one sound, and you can tweak the sound in multiple layers and yeah, come up with something new. So it's an interesting thing here. I have some problems inside Bitwig with the interface actually. Maybe I show you this because I can't show you on OBS. On OBS it looks perfectly fine, but I can record this with my smartphone. You can see how it looks like. So it's probably something with my GPU, I think. Maybe this is rendered here in OpenGL or something like this. I have no idea. So I have some problems here, flickering of the interface and so on, but it works perfectly fine besides that. Okay, so that's that. I just downloaded this, so I have no real experience with this. I want to show you this and maybe give it a try. There's also a trial version on the Steinberg website online, and have fun with it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.